reckless, young boy, come up off that necklace to the trends. CLE be the band.
Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, Joe, and I got my boy B. Foster. And before we start our show, we want to remind everyone to subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube and make sure you follow us on all podcast aggregators. All you have to do is go to each platform, type in Bleachers and Speakers FFSN. Make sure you're following us. Make sure that notification bell is on, so whenever we drop content, you'll get an alert. Download those episodes. Foster, it's game day.
Long awaited.
The only thing I don't like is that the late games on when the Lions play late. I'm a 1 o'clock person, and I want to see the Lions first kickoff on that Sunday. I want to see the Lions playing. We got a comment already. Oh, we got Dave is here. Yes, subscribe. Yes, I agree, Dave. We got those pesky Packers, man. Cheeseheads. We're going into Green Bay. And this will be the thing. Win or lose, that comment right there, FTP. That's the thing. That's an ongoing thing. Even after today, no matter what, it's still going to be FTP. And I think my North Division friends agree with me outside of those cheesehead fans. So, Foster, we're a little banged up though.
Yeah, there's a couple people on that injury report that I was not expecting to be there. So, you know, another evaluation weekend where we get an opportunity to see how deep this team truly is, because next man up.
Yeah, that's been the moniker. Next man up. Additions that you found out today, Foster. Who's on the injury list that you didn't know about until today?
Malcolm Rodriguez is one. He's currently our starting, or has been our starting strong side linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty big one. Outside of that, I mean, I know Pat was hurt last week, so he's just obviously still hurt. But outside of that, hold on, let me pull up the list here. Oh,
I can throw off a name, right? I didn't know Pascal was hurt until today.
You said what?
I didn't know Pascal was hurt until today. Josh.
I mean, he was. I mean, but he didn't play last week, So
I didn't know he didn't play last week. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he didn't play last week, and then it says that Mekhi Wingo and Sione Vaki are doubtful as well. Those are 2-1. Yeah. Which, what is that? A 20% chance of playing, pretty much?
Well, it just depends. It just depends on what happens during the week. You could be doubtful and still play, but when it comes to Wingo, the day before the last day of practice, he had limited practice and he didn't practice the next day.
And then Vaki was a full participant on Thursday and then didn't practice. So, they both been kind of fighting through it. So, not big ones. I mean, Wingo is, because we're already pretty banged up in the as far as the front line is concerned. So, so yeah.
How serious is that injury to Josh Pascal? Do you have any?
It says illness, so I don't know. I don't know what that's about. It doesn't sound like an injury to his body. It just continues to say illness. I'd have to look into seeing what that's about. But
well, I don't want to put nothing out there bad, but our Coach Campbell said it wasn't anything long term. But he fought cancer at one point.
I was thinking that too.
So I hope it's nothing to that extent. I mean, I hope it's just something like the flu or some stuff like that. But for an illness, it's kind of to be held out of 2 games because of the illness. Is
1 week understandable.
Yeah.
2 weeks, it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
I mean,
like
even people are recovering from COVID in a week now. So
right.
yeah. Well, I don't want to speculate. I just, I just hope he recovers and he's doing good. But that front line so depleted with already Davenport, Hutchinson, and now Pascal. Now to really, today is what, the third. I, I,
Yeah.
I after I tell you this, after today's game, no matter what, there's gonna be they're gonna be screaming, the fans. Make a move. We need help on the defensive line. Make a move, no matter what.
Yeah.
With all these bodies down, it's like and he's teasing the crowd, like, maybe, like there's gonna be a move. You're gonna hear those chants, but that's when you find out about this team when through some adversity, how well um they how well a team stands out and what defines a team is the adversity it goes through. And I think you did a player profile on Ben Neiman today, and that's on all the podcast aggregators. It'll be up on YouTube later. Ben Neiman is one of those guys that the Lions brought in that, he's a lunch pail type of guy. And you're going to see more of him today. What's the other guy you did a player profile? Navas?
Trevor Nowaski.
Nowaski. I'm going to butcher a name. If you don't know any better, I'm going to butcher. But that's another linebacker that's going to get his opportunities. And these are not bad players to have to step up because they have something to prove, and they go at it every single down that they have the opportunity to. They're probably not as good as your starters, but they're going to give that starter effort, and that's all you can ask for for the next player up is to have maximum effort. You know what I'm saying? So, and not be lost. You want them to be able to diagnose and know what they're doing out there, and then exuberate the effort that goes along with that. So, other than that, no JMO today. I'm a represent. I got it on the jersey today, the JMO jersey.
Oh, I
You
didn't
know,
even know you had a J-Mo jersey. That's crazy.
that's a new addition to the thing. You know what I'm saying? I saw him on 7 Mile and say, "Hey, man, why don't you give me that jersey, bro?"
Right.
You know what I'm
Come
saying?
up with that jersey, man.
Yeah, he was at the Coney Island. I was like, what's happening, bro? Put the pistol down, hand me the jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, we not
Okay,
doing
I'm joking.
not.
It was a joke. That was a joke. No.
It wasn't a pistol. It was a
It was Viagra. No, but
right in front of the gas station.
no. I you know what? I had this jersey and I saved it. You know what I'm saying? And since he's not playing today, I said, you know what? I'm gonna represent. I'm gonna wear the JMO jersey. And then they started that stupid trade proposal. Let's throw JMO in there to get it. I don't know. I'm still not sold on trading JMO for anything. Now, this wasn't a rumor started by anybody on the Lions. It's just the media was coming up with these scenarios. They even had Jamar Gibbs in one of the scenarios, 3 first-round picks, and Jameer Gibbs for a rush in. Man, stop. Gibbs ain't going nowhere, bro.
No.
You might get some people that might agree with JMO. You might be, hey, but you're not gonna have anybody agree on Jamar Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm not terribly opposed to that. I mean, I hate to say it.
You're gonna have some people that's gonna agree with it, man. And I ain't mad at them. I can understand. Did you see what Shannon Sharp said about JMO?
I think you sent it. What do you say? Just
he must don't like money.
Hey, that's what I said when it first happened. I'm like, you only, yeah, you no pun intended. You're shooting yourself in the foot with some of these decisions you make.
What he brought up the fact that the gambling. He's like, first you gamble,
right?
And then, he said, then you get suspended for 2 games, and then while you're on suspension, This happens. Oh, you don't like no money.
Even though that happened before the suspension.
Yes.
The
Yes.
incident.
It but it's just the timing of it. It just yes. MSU Detroit fan speaks and said Packers suck. I can't disagree. I'm not going to disagree. We better win today. I'm sorry. We better win it. I'm talking too much junk. We better win today. Better be a victory. Foster, we're 6-1, right? Is this a must-win game? I know it sounds ridiculous at 6-1 having a must-win game, but just is this a must-win game?
No, it's not a must-win game. I mean, it definitely has implications because I think that if we lose, we would have the same record, and obviously the Packers would have the edge as far as head-to-head play. But no, I mean, I would like to be in the game. It sounds like we got some weather elements and obviously injuries that are going to be a factor as well. But going into Lambeau Field, it's shorthanded and winning, knowing that we will have to play them later in the year at home would be massive. And we just don't really get weeks off, honestly. I mean, the last 3 or 4 weeks have all been games that had pretty strong storylines when you talk about undefeated Vikings, revenge game against the Dallas Cowboys, a divisional opponent like the Packers on the road. I mean, there's just no let up in our schedule, but that's what happens when you are an NFC, nearly an NFC champion. You don't get, there's no gimme games at this point.
MSU Detroit fan says beating Green Bay is always a must-win game. Yeah. Dave says if you lose, it puts them in the lead in the division for the week, and nobody outside of Green Bay Packers fans wants that as far as the North Division. One thing I will say, I won't say it's a must-win game, but it could be a statement game. You go into Green Bay, no matter if you consider yourself shorthanded or not, and you win. And right now, you've won 2 games on the road in the NFC North. Now, the key to success, I believe, is to winning, at least splitting your NFC North division games and have a winning record outside of that division, those division games. So I think that's a recipe that I think if you do that, if you win, it's like you got your home games and you don't have, there's no pressure. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be able to play Green Bay at home knowing I already won than to go in there and say, okay, we got to win this one for the division, right? So MSU Detroit fan says, I did see this. This is the first time the Lions have played a game outdoors this season. Wow. And you know what's crazy about that? The weather's bad. So the first time you play, the weather's bad. You should have scheduled this game early in the season. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right.
Why not do that? I mean, but hey, that's just too much like, right? Let's take a quick break, Foster, and we'll get back and we'll finish this pregame show we got. Lions versus the Packers. If you're listening, you'll hear some wonderful ads. If you're watching, give us about 10 seconds. If you're watching, man, it didn't take that long. I told you. Make sure you subscribe to Bleacher Speakers on YouTube and make sure you're following us on all the podcast aggregators. Bleacher Speakers FFSN. Just make sure you're following. Make sure that notification bell is lit up. Make sure you download those episodes. Offensively, Foster, do we have any injuries other than what we don't know?
No. So as far as injured as this team is, we are healthy on the offensive side. Obviously, you got some guys that I think nearly our entire offensive line has little ailments here and there. But that's going to happen when you're, going head to head with, another 300-pound individual. But the only person that we have out on the offensive side of things that's a starter is Jamison Williams, and that is due to a suspension. Obviously, Sione Vaki is doubtful, but he's our third, fourth string running back.
Could be. It depends on if you consider Craig Reynolds your third string or not.
Yeah, so a guy that really is only active on special teams slash, trick plays on, on punt return, stuff like that. So other than that, the offense is healthy.
Okay. MSU Detroit fan says of the 17 Lions 17 games this year, only 3 are outdoor games. It's at Packers, at Bears, and at 49ers.
We played San Francisco this year? Wow.
Yeah, apparently so. And it's going to be at 49ers, so the weather's not going to be bad. So
yeah,
that one for sure. I'm pretty sure that the weather be crappy in Chicago whenever we play them. So that's just what it is this time of season. MSU Detroit fan also says Baki seems to be used more as a running back for if he's playing running back. He's usually he's being used as special teams player. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. One thing that kind of scared me last week though, Foster, Golf had a play where he was limping a little bit. He came up kind of gimpy, and I was like, "Oh Lord." I don't need to see this, right? But obviously they haven't mentioned anything. They haven't mentioned anything about it, so I take it that he's a healthy go. But this weather is concerning. It's going to be wet. You say winds maybe 10 to 15 miles per hour. And if that's the case, it's going to affect both teams. It's going to affect both teams. And I see more of a ground and pound type game going into this game. And I don't mind doing that with the running backs we have. And I'm sure they don't mind with the running back they have. So, but I do think this plays into our advantage because if you want to point out a weakness of the Detroit Lions, it'd be the passing defense. And I wouldn't even say it's not as bad as it seems, you know what I'm saying, at times, but smash mouth football game, I would tend to favor the Lions defense because we're pretty good against the run. What do you think, boss?
Yeah, I mean both. Yeah. We're definitely strong against the run. Obviously, the lack of depth in our front line could be a factor in that as well. But I really think that the game is going to be one in protecting Jared Goff. Like you said, he was a little gimpy last week. They ended up pulling him to kind of preserve him, wrap him in bubble wrap. We need him to be healthy, but Taylor Decker has struggled the last few weeks, and the Packers are pretty good at getting to the quarterback. They're 10th in the league in sacks per game. So yeah, it's going to be important to protect Jared Goff, but I think it's going to be a field position game. It's going to be important. Obviously, we're coming off a game where our special teams was amazing. Not only did we have a punt return for a touchdown, Khalil Dorsey had a 70-plus yard kickoff return as well, and our punter, Jack Fox, I think he averaged like 60 yards per punt and backed the team up inside the 20 half of those times. So it's just those little intangible things that you don't often think about. Often we think about offense, defense, who can stop the run, who can stop the pass, but good teams are sound on on every level. And a strong punt return, a strong kick return can really sway the momentum of the games. That's punt return, kick returns used to be punt returns still, but kick returns as well. Those used to be the most exciting plays in football, and nothing gets the crowd rocking or shuts down the opposing team's home crowd like a big play on special teams.
Yeah, the kickoff looks so whack with the new rules now. It's like they're just standing there and the ball's in the air and everybody's standing still. It looks so generic when as opposed to when you kick the ball and everybody's flying down there. But player safety is first, so they created this rule um, to decrease the injuries. MSU Detroit fan, and I'm glad he said this because I want to talk about this as well. I said last week we will use Tim Patrick as wide receiver 2, but that could be Khalif Raymond based on how he's played the last 2 games. That's funny, MSU Detroit fan, because I'm gonna tell you a story. One of my Facebook friends, and I can't remember who said it, but one of the things he posted in the middle of the game was take Khalif Raymond out the game. I can't remember who said that. And then he's made plays ever since. Like, so please, whoever it was, if you're watching this, please continue with the negative stuff because it tends not to roll your way. But I swear, ever since then, he had like 2 big catches in that game, and he's been making plays ever since. Khalif Raymond is making a statement as far as his value, how valuable he is. He was quiet in the early parts of the year, and last week he showed out, and then he had some good catches the game before that. So MSU Detroit fan also says, I'm still hoping we can see Isaiah Williams or Allen Robinson get used. Yeah. That's the depth that we're talking about. We have players like that haven't even seen the field that are capable of making plays. So yeah, that's really dope as far as on the offensive side of the ball. My concern is that defensive line with all the injuries, and our defensive backfield is healthy though.
I literally have that starred on my paper is the fact that the secondary is as much as they've been scrutinized this year, no position, no one position has more continuity outside of our offense for the most part than the secondary.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We got I think Kirby and Branch is the best safety tandem in football right now.
I can't argue with that.
I mean, if you have an argument with me, if you're listening,
out there, we don't follow every team.
We don't follow every team, but I just know those are 2 very good safeties back there, and I was questioning why move Branch to safety. That's your nickel person. Why move him to safety? Another move I question. I'm either questioning Brad Holmes or Dan Campbell all the time, and they make me eat crow every single time. I can admit when I'm wrong. But I definitely said you keep Iffy at safety, you keep Branch at your nickel, but Branch is making plays at that safety position. I can't even hold you. MSU Detroit fan says, once Iffy returns, just imagine how great the safeties will be then. Yeah.
It's going to get better late in the year for that run.
That run is going to be crazy. That stretch at the end of the year when he comes back. And just imagine, has Barnes been deemed out for the year?
I think he's holding out for the possibility of coming back. He says, I'm obviously done for the year, but I think that he's hoping to make it for the push. We still got a long way to go before we get to the playoffs. So it's possible.
You got to remember, this is game 8. There's 17 games to be played. So there's a lot of football, a lot of time left. After this week, you'll have 9 weeks of football left, of regular season football. So I don't know. I was going to ask you a question, Foster, but it's kind of unfair.
Is it unfair?
I'm gonna give you a scenario, right?
Okay.
Lions are 6-1.
Yeah.
My question to you is, what will be the final record?
Jeez.
I know it. It's tough.
6-1.
You know what? Think about this. Think of it this way, right?
I got it. We'll go ahead.
Okay.
But I do.
Don't think of the 6-1 record. Think of what you thought before the season started, and then factor in as far as the pace going towards that. Like if you thought they were going to be, I don't know, 11-6, do you
I think
think that now?
we said 12 wins. I want to
We
say
said 12-5.
yes.
We both agreed on 12-5. Do you think that's going to be about where we're going to be?
I'm now saying 13-4, which just sounds so crazy, especially because I'm used to a 16 game season. So 13-3 is just wild. But yeah, I mean, at this point, um, we've got some of our tougher games in the rear view mirror. When you look at Minnesota, at Dallas, we've already played Tampa Bay, we've already played Stafford. Um, Obviously, we have San Francisco late in the year, but they are super banged up and really feeling the effects of it. So yeah, we got down the stretch. We're gonna have Green Bay at home. We're gonna have Minnesota at home. We got a couple games versus the Bears, which they're they're in last place, right?
Yeah, they're in last place.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a
They're
last place.
4-3.
But for what it's worth, they're in, that's a last place team. So yeah, and I think we still have the Colts and Jaguars, and yeah, I think we have the Colts, Jaguars, and Houston coming up.
Houston coming up.
I think it gets more favorable for us down the stretch. So yeah, I'm gonna say 13-4.
I'm gonna read some of these comments real quick.
Yeah,
MSU Detroit fan says free safety blitz, is that something we can see return if he returns? Of course, absolutely. Mr. My City, what's up, man? He says we got 1 loss through 7 games. We only lose 2 more, if any. Who are the 4 teams that can beat us? Mr. My City says. Mr. My City is talking his stuff today.
He's talking that.
MSU Detroit fan. Remember last year's they would have a free safety rush to QB, especially the playoffs when we had Kirby Branch, that other guy, and if he all play together, yeah. It got crazy when Iffy was blitzing. It got really crazy. Mr. My City also says we know what happens on Thanksgiving Day, so there's 1 L from Chicago. Yeah, until they show me differently, I'm not confident about the Thanksgiving game. Dave says, hopefully it will come down to week 18. I hope it doesn't, Dave. I hope it doesn't. I hope that
smiley face emotion.
I hope week 18 is already distinguished where we're going to be and what it's going to be. I do not hope the division hopes comes down to week 18. I just don't. I think it's going to be a tight race, though. I think it's going to be a tight race. I think it's still, even with the Vikings losing last week and the Bears losing last week, it's still have the highest winning percentage of all the division. This is the toughest division in football, the NFC North. So, let's see. MSU Detroit fan said, hopefully this is the last time we would have to worry about the edge rusher being MIA. I don't know. MSU Detroit fan says, Trey Henderson, please, Brad. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Like I said, Foster, you're going to hear a lot of that. You're going to hear, no matter what happens today, when you got Josh out, the other injuries, Wingo doubtful, the fans are going to be screaming for a change.
This is my last time speaking him up, but James Houston on the depth chart is currently number 1 edge rusher on one end. This is another opportunity for him to, pop up, and sometimes you got to pop out and show.
You are a Houston believer. I mean,
I can't even say I'm a
you're an optimist.
That's what it is. I'm optimistic for him, but to say that I'm a believer, I mean, he hasn't had a sack.
But
since-
but one thing I can say, but you haven't slighted him. You've been saying he's a possibility. You're hoping he's going to show up. So that's dope. That's dope. I mean, it's not a knock at all.
Right.
Most people, the average fan is going to be like, man, he's not worth it. But we know what he's capable of. We do. MSU Detroit fan says, I still don't get why we haven't done anything, especially since this is his second game Josh Pascal has missed. Yes. Mr. My City says, off topic, but B, what the you drinking?
That is a fruit smoothie. It's got mixed fruit, banana, honey, protein, soy milk.
Okay. Has the fruit fermented in any kind of way? Just curious.
No, but it's like the blueberry.
Is there any liquor in it, Foster?
No.
Okay. Don't act like no, it's an impossibility now.
I didn't know that's what you were alluding to, but no.
That is definitely
there very well could be, but there's not.
Yeah, it could be. You hung out with Trigger Ty last night. You probably recovering.
Yeah.
You Detroit fan says, I like Isaac Ukwu, but we are throwing him into the fire right away. James Houston hasn't returned to 2022 form yet either. Yeah, let's talk about 2022 Houston after this break, because me and Foster had very, very high expectations for this guy. So we're going to take another quick break, and then we'll get back. We'll talk about Mr. Houston. I'm going to read this comment real quick. MSU Detroit fan says Trevor Nowask has been good, although like seeing a Saginaw Valley guy succeed for the Lions. Yes, I like that too. I do like that. Mr. Houston, rookie season 2022, right? Is that the rookie season?
Yeah, he came out with Hutch, I think.
Yeah, 8 sacks, right? Now, mind you, that same year, Hutch's rookie year, Hutch had 9.5 sacks, correct? And Houston only played half the year, correct? Right. So imagine what me and Foster are thinking, right? Being optimistic, you know what I'm saying? You got Houston on one side, Hutch on it. Houston had 8 sacks in half a season, so he should be able to get double digits on the other side playing the whole season. However, it's 2024. He hasn't been able to do. I think he was injured most of last season, correct?
Yeah, he was injured most of last season. I think he was injured for the start. He was either on the practice squad or injured for the start of his rookie season too.
Yeah. So, Mr. Houston, man, me and Foster are still very hopeful he can contribute. We've seen what he can do. And Coach Campbell is like really, really, when it comes to Houston, he's like numb. He doesn't really say much. It's like if a thought can be monotone, that's what I'm getting from Coach Campbell about Houston. It's like, Troy says, "What's up, fella? It's game day. This is going to be a big test." Yes, it is. Anytime you go into Green Bay, it's a big test. It's a big test, especially being depleted defensively. I think the elements are going to play a part of how we play today. It's supposed to be rainy and high winds. That doesn't bode well for either team passing wise. So I think you have to. It might be one of those ugly ground and pound games. We'll see. Mr. My City says these guys we have now stay ready so they don't have to get ready. Next man up is real. Brad has built this team. Well, we have a beast we haven't seen yet. That's why Brad hasn't rushed to make a move. Mr. My City says, in my opinion, of course, there's a defensive end that's talking a lot of junk. He's kind of like strutting his stuff on our team. Mr. Muhammad, the defensive end. Have you heard him say anything, Foster?
No,
I'm gonna tell you,
let me know what's up with that.
I'm gonna tell you what he said. He said, um, last week I was just getting the rust off. Wait till you see me next week. Now, there was a guy that covered it. I can't remember who was covering him, as far as media in here in Detroit about this player. And they showed some film and they showed how he was actually getting pressure.
Mm.
And he was very physical and he was very fast off the edge. He just it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, of course. But he said after the game, he said, I'm just knocking the rust off. Wait till next week. So I'm gonna be looking for Muhammad. You got my attention with that. And I heard when he said, I read when he said I was just knocking the rust off. You'll see next week what I can really do.
And I saw Glenn talking about him because I think he coached him in New Orleans or Tennessee. He's coached him before somewhere.
Yeah.
So that was definitely an influence on him being brought in. So yeah, this is very much a showcase opportunity for him because we need that type of confidence and that type of actual performance and show me.
Yeah.
Show me.
Yeah, Troy says we love a good grit game. Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's football. You know what I'm saying? It's football. It's not all, high flying and 300 yards passing. You want to see some some trench work. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Lions team is built to play a tough, gritty game along with some finesse. You've seen the trick plays, you've seen the speed on the outside, you see the play action, you've seen it. But I also think with the offensive line they have and the running backs, you can say what you want about Gibbs as far as being the home run hitter. He runs in between the tackles just as good as anybody. You know what Montgomery does, and Montgomery also has a gear outside of that we didn't think he had, but he can get outside and he can take it to the house as well. So, um, yeah, I think it's going to be a tough game. Uh, I just hate that it's at 425, Foster, 430.
Yeah.
Why?
Flexing.
Is it ratings? Is it ratings? Is that what it is?
Yeah, we're both in the Eastern. No, is Green Bay in the Midwest?
They're an hour behind us.
Yeah, so that's not the influence. Obviously, I don't know who plays at one. That's like the marquee matchup, but yeah, the world will get to see it. Even everybody, even on the West Coast, they'll get to see it at a reasonable 1 o'clock time. So.
Speaking of which, Foster, I'm gonna tell you how much of a difference this Lions team, this Lions organization is from I want to say 5 or 6 years ago.
I'm listening.
Any other time, I would be locked on to who else is playing, right? With this Lions team, with this Lions team, I haven't paid attention to anybody else with who's playing at 1 or who's playing tonight. You know what I'm saying? I just know when the Lions are playing. I know the Lions playing at 4:30. When any other time, 5, 6 years ago, I'd be dead locked on all the other good games that are going to show because I was probably going to be disappointed by the Lions. That's just what it is now. Now I don't even care. It's like, okay, who else is playing? I have to actually look now and pay attention. Dave says it is the Fox feature game. That's why. Okay, that's what it is. I mean, they can't feature a game at noon. What the hell? Mr. My City says McKinney did go out of his way to let his teammates know that the Lions don't just try to beat opponents; they try to embarrass them. He's not a big fan of them trying trick plays with their lead well in.
Yeah.
Mr. My City said, hand as they did Sunday in a 52-14 victory over the Tennessee Titans. My thing about that is even if you were to do that versus the Lions, stop it. I've always been that kind of person. If you don't like what's going on, stop it. If you can't stop it, then what you have to be prepared for everything. And I think everything goes in preparation. Like, for instance, let's say the Lions are down. Well, I don't want to say this. Let's say 3 years ago the Lions were down 40 49 nothing, and they run a reverse in the fourth quarter and take it to the house. I mean, that's just one of those things where you have something on film, you can, you know what I'm saying, you'll learn what to look for next time somebody else tries to run it. You know what I'm saying? Does it do anything? It might be a gut punch, but at the same time, you're still lost. That's not any more embarrassing than what it was before. Like, let's say you didn't do a trick play versus Tennessee, right? Let's say you take 21 points off the board. The score is 52-14 at the end of the game. You still look bad if at 31-14. So it's like, I don't know, man. Green Bay
once said, if all I do is punch, then block it.
Yeah.
Do something about it then. Like,
man, it was all good when Aaron Rodgers was up 2 touchdowns and going right down the field and scoring. I mean, the thing is, you play into the end of the game, and even if my team is on the other side of that, you don't complain. You stop it. If you couldn't stop it, then then you deserve every point that they scored. Trick plays or not. I mean, we tried a trick play, tried a hook and lateral with Penny Sewell.
Yeah, you ought to be able to stop that, right? Like, that should be easy.
Stop that. That's all you can do. You can't, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I haven't Foster, can you pull up who's all playing at 1:00 today? I have no idea. I really don't care. I just know we play at 4:30.
Let's see. We're in week. All right. Panthers and Saints.
Womp.
Bills and Dolphins. Commanders, Giants. Chargers, Browns. Patriots and Titans. Womp.
All trash.
Cowboys and Falcons. I like that. Raiders and Bengals.
That's going to be in the Cowboys and Falcons ought to be entertaining. Go ahead.
Raiders and Bengals, and then the Broncos and Ravens.
I'm not a fan of watching the Broncos right now.
Yeah. Can't say I've watched a single down. Maybe when it was at the bar.
Yeah. Mr. My City says Detroit versus everybody, my baby. Even when we go up 30 plus, just like that, just like Ivy in that game against Atlanta begging Kill for the ball at the end, we play a full game. Well, when the Knicks
that was an obscure reference. I don't even really remember it.
Yeah, Mr. My, if Mr. My said it, if Mr. My City says it happened, it happened.
It happened for sure.
Yeah, he says run it up. Hey man, I'm sitting here watching the Pistons play the Knicks down by 30, and they still got their starters in. Stop it! Can't get mad. Stop it. So it is what it is, and I've seen where teams have let up off the gas and let a team get back in the game and lose. So, it's all gas, no brakes. Now, if you're up 79-0 in the first quarter and you know what I'm saying, that's something different. Like
the Dolphins did that. I think they hung 70 points on somebody last year. I can't remember who it was against, but
yeah, they did. It was earlier in the year. Yeah. They were looking really good. They're looking really good. And I'm gonna ask you to look up one more thing, Foster.
What's up?
The remaining Lions game. We have after today's game, we have 9 more left. There was a question of what games does it look like we will lose or who could beat us And I honestly think we can beat anybody on any given Sunday, so that's not even a thing. But who do we got left on the schedule? If you can say them in order.
All right, we got the Packers today, of course. Then we got the Texans. We have the Jaguars,
Mm,
we got
mm.
the Colts.
Hold on.
And then
Texans here or there?
in Texas, Houston.
Okay, so we got 2 back-to-back games away. Okay.
And then we got the Jags, Colts, and then we play the Bears, Packers, Bills, Bears, 49ers in the second to last game of the year, and then of course we have the Vikings to end the year. Well,
That Bills game worries me.
I was gonna, and this is it. That's in Detroit, but yeah, the Bills are usually a tough team.
Mhm.
The divisional ones can of course go either way. We still have a road game against Chicago on the 22nd, so that's
That's
going to
gonna be
be
a tough game.
weather's going to be awful.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's a couple. There might be a couple bunnies in there.
And Minnesota's not gonna be an easy game at home.
No, it's not, and they're going to be playing, and I'm and it,
They're going to be going all out. They're looking for a victory. I don't care what happens. They're gonna be playing to
for
win.
something. Yeah, they'll have something on the line. I would presume.
Yeah.
Just might not be the division.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's not gonna be. Sorry, Dave. Dave says the largest comeback was 33 points down, and you have to play like that, man. There's no, and Dave can attest. His team, the Vikings. He's the Vikings advocate, uh, uh, diehard Vikings fan, and the Vikings this year have gotten off to a fast start in the first quarter. I think against the Green Bay, they was up 28-0, and they won 31-29. You don't, do what you got to do to keep scoring because you never know. This is a passing league. You can score points really, really quick. You know what I'm saying? Turnovers, momentum is everything. So you got to do what you got to do. Run it up, run it up. And if you have a problem with it, don't let a team get that far ahead of you or stop it. One of the two. So, but I think that about wraps it up for this show. Unless you
I do want to. I like to wrap the whole situation up with a bow, touch
okay,
on our keys and all that.
okay.
Uh, so yeah, Jordan Love, I think is probable to play today.
He's going to play.
Yeah, he's going to play. So obviously he's fared pretty well against us, or at least the second time around he fared well against us. So we have to be weary of him letting it fly. Obviously we've struggled to stop the big play, and he's a guy that can really air it out. But he does have 9 interceptions this year, and despite the fact that he has played, not played every game, but he also has 15 touchdowns. He's top 2 in interceptions, but also top 4 in touchdown passes. So this could be a game that has some turnovers, especially
he's going to throw 3 today. By the way, go ahead.
3 interceptions. Okay, but yeah, the weather is going to be a factor. So turnovers are going to be key. The Packers are first in the league in takeaway, so it's going to be essential that we win that plus minus battle. We're obviously going without our strong outside linebacker, Malcolm Rodriguez. But I think Alex Anzalone will be the guy tasked to going up against a tight end who's quietly having a Pro Bowl type season. He's got 5 touchdown receptions so far this year. So that's a key matchup for certain. But speaking about turnovers, Amik Robertson has been an unsung hero. He had 2 fumble. He forced 2 fumbles last week against the Tennessee Titans. So he's been very active and a part of that crew that's got some really good continuity in the defensive backfield, and got to keep an eye out for Jair Alexander and Xavier McKinney. McKinney has the most interceptions in the entire league with 6. That's the guy that was crying about teams embarrassing him. But the combination of him and Jair Alexander, that's 8 interceptions right there. So got to be weary of that of that group, and they'll be trying to outdo our duo of Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, who've also done a masterful job this year in the defensive backfield. But yeah, I think the turnover battle and field position are the two biggest keys. That and protecting Jared Goff and keeping an eye on Taylor Decker, because he has been struggling the last few games.
You think it's because of lingering injury?
I'm sure
he's not 100%. I know he was hurt, and they was doubting whether he could play at one point, but he hadn't missed a game.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a factor. It's just very uncharacteristic of him. So it's not far-fetched that an offensive lineman might be a little banged up because they take a beating all year long.
Yeah, they can't need to get out.
Check out, get a breather because I'm tired.
Yeah, they can't do that. They can't do that. No Richardson.
Poor guy.
That about do it for today, Foster. I guess we'll be back here after the game. You see? So we're going to do a post-game show as well. So if you're here, we'll see you back here. We'll either be venting or celebrating, one of the two. Hopefully it's the latter, and we'll be celebrating. But I'm going to say it one more time. Subscribe to Bleachers to Speakers on YouTube, and follow us on all the podcast aggregators, and make sure that you hit that follow button and that notification button. So when we drop new content, you'll get an alert, and you'll be able to download the episodes. Make sure you check us out.
Get your lick back. If a nugget owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back.